Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. Oh,
It's,
hi, Alex. I'm playing with my new lights.
at least that's all you're playing with.
Oh, dear.
Say,
My hands are above the covers, so.
listen. Please stop. Listen. This is something that has been in the news for a long time, but we just haven't gone around to discussing it, and that is the influence that the feminists have had on things that have nothing to do with feminism.
Like what?
The Boy Scouts, perfect example. I mean, that is the least inherently at least, the least feminine thing.
Well, since there's no such thing anymore as the Boy Scouts, it's been done away with.
Yes.
There's no more Boy Scouts. And
you know what it's called?
Feminism?
You know what it's called? It's called Scouts BSA. Nobody knows what the B stands for, but it's called Scouts BSA.
Scout BSA.
Scouts BSA, yes.
Maybe it's Scouts bullshit arithmetic. Maybe that's what it means.
That's what it feels like. I am a...
So what's the connection between, how did feminism ruin the Boy Scouts? I'm interested in that.
Well, it was not overnight. It was the work of decades. 2 steps forward, 1 step back for at least 3 decades. At least 3 decades.
Okay.
First it was little things here and there. What really saddens me, I think the greatest atrocity, I don't care how left-wing you are, folks, if you're listening to this, the Boy Scouts has a terrible abuse problem. And they should be focusing on fixing that. So what do they do instead? They decide to let girls in too because, the problem's not bad enough. So
well, wait a minute. Is there abuse problem, homosexual abuse? Is that?
Yes, it's like
okay. So they're following the Vatican. They're following the Vatican solution. So because we have homosexual priests, let's make priests marry women. That's going to cure their homosexuality.
No. It's like
that's ridiculous.
It's like ridiculous. Instead of I don't have a solution for. I'm not involved in that sort of world of figuring out how to solve abuse within the Boy Scouts. But what I do know for a fact is you're not helping by adding another potential victim as well, the girls. Right. That's you now. Like the straight pedophiles,
right,
are now It's like you're doubling your chances of failure.
Yeah. Now I saw some of the pictures. You sent me a link to the new Scouts BSA, and I noticed that the pictures were all segregated. It opens with a picture of like 5 girls playing piggyback or something like that, and then it switches to like 5 little boys, and they're just sitting around having fun. And each of the pictures, there's no intermingling between the boys and the girls.
See, they didn't go whole hog. The current policy is that they're they're separate but equal.
Separate. But equal,
you can have a girl only Boy Scout troop,
right,
and you can have a boy only Boy Scout troop,
right.
And there's like very few, if any at all, local troops that will have a actually mixed, but for now it's just co-ed. It's separate.
Well, if it's separate but equal, and they're borrowing that phraseology from
I use that.
I know, but I'm saying, who's on the bottom and who's on the top? Because
Well, there are cases where the boys will get whooped by the girls. In different categories.
No, but what I meant was who's more in control of the organization? Is it the? That's what I meant. I meant who's really on top in terms of control, power.
Well, the big we're using the Boy Scouts mostly as a vehicle to talk about feminism as a whole, as, what the ideology does.
Yeah.
And I've talked to many of my left-leaning scouting friends. A lot of them are on the fence on this issue. Mm-hmm. For example, they understand that one of the biggest problems that they have with this new policy is that this is the final nail in the coffin for the Girl Scouts. Mm-hmm. The Girl Scouts were always salvageable. They had a great mission, a great objective, basically do the same thing boys are trying to do, instill good character into young boys, but instead they instill good character into young women. But for so long, the Girl Scouts, a lot of their groups, instead of doing something fun and outdoorsy like hiking or camping or backpacking or whatever, instead they do activities like scrapbooking and baking brownies and all these sort of nonsense
Right.
garbage that girls don't actually want to do. You know, they're sitting at home scrapbooking while their younger brother's out going backpacking.
Yeah.
Come on,
And this is largely the result of the fact that feminist liberation is an offshoot of Marxist liberation, where women feel empowered. The whole world, the word empowerment is a thoroughly Marxist word. It's a thoroughly right out of the Marxist dictionary, and feminism is an offshoot of that. It's an application of Marxist cultural appropriation, because women were dominated by men for centuries, and in society, and so women needed to be empowered because they felt they didn't have any power. In actuality, most of the women I knew who from the old days, they were running the show. They were wearing the pants of the family, and everybody really knows that. My mother.
Well, that's because you're from Boston, but you know, there was a solution to the Girl Scouts, and that is they should be doing activities that the girls actually want to do. That makes
they
them
want to be in the boys' tent on camping trips. That's what they want. They want to be in the tents.
Well, I mean, Girl Scouts typically, it's like
they want to be in the tent so they
can.
Hold
Hold on, no. It's like 12 to 7 years old. You know, typically they do get older, but that's typically what the demographic of girls is. Once they get older, they just lose interest because they want to be doing outdoorsy things. They don't want to be scrapbooking when they're 16.
Right.
You know, or quilting or whatever.
But I predict that you're going to find a lot of the so-called Girl Scouts in the tents with the so-called Boy Scouts. You're going to have a lot of rape accusations and Title IX accusations. So the solution to whether or not there are, some hanky-panky with the boys going on in their tents, putting a girl in there is only going to double the problem. I agree with you 100%.
I mean. But now that the Boy Scouts has opened the doors to let the girls in the Boy Scouts, why would anyone want to join the Girl Scouts anymore? It is like killed that organization. It is dead. It's dead. Yeah. It's dead.
Well, feminism has even far more reaching impact on society than just the elimination of the Boy Scouts. And try in an effort to salvage the Girl Scouts organization. There must have been a way to salvage the Girl Scouts thing without destroying the Boy Scouts. But the other things that feminism has destroyed is it has destroyed young men and destroyed young women. And young men are afraid to be men anymore. You can't, you have to, every time you go out with a girl on a date, now you have to carry your Excel spreadsheet and ask permission, may I hold your hand? Yes. Okay. That's a yes. Put that in the column. Yes. Holding hand. Yes.
And at the same time, I feel rotten and dirty for asking a woman to do anything. But at the same time, if I do anything, I feel beaten down for daring to do something for a woman who's perfectly capable of doing it for herself.
Well, not only that, but they'll quickly turn against you. They have learned from their older sisters, their feminist sisters, is charge you with rape, charge you with sexual harassment, sue your ass off, or get you fired and get you destroy your life. They've learned how to empower. Feminism is a baseball bat to beat the balls off of men.
I've always seen it as scissors, but sure,
Yeah.
Which is why
and that has feminism has led to the decline in the interest of procreation. People your age and younger are not interested in procreation because that involves sex, and sex is now dangerous because if you're a man, you'll be accused of rape or harassment or all of the above, and your life will be destroyed.
So now that we've assessed the problem, I believe I should ask you, what do you believe is the solution?
Everybody should follow the British solution. All the men should be homosexuals. That's
okay. That's how does that solve the problem of people are afraid of procreation? Isn't that kind of like end the human race then and there?
Well, the fact that British men who are mostly homosexual manage to procreate is the seventh proof of the existence of an all-powerful God.
I see. Okay, so. Right. Your solution to defeating feminism is to become homosexual, but then magically procreate anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll leave it up to the Holy Spirit to procreate. Yeah.
How many Jesuses do you want? I mean, one saved us all from sin. How many sins do you have?
The problem is that men are men and women are women, and never the two shall be one or the other. A man can never be a woman. A woman can never be a man. Every cell in their body would have to be replaced in order to accomplish that. It's a biological impossibility. And any man who thinks he's a woman is a mental case and deserves our compassionate psychiatric treatment. Same thing with a woman who thinks that she is a man. She deserves our best psychiatric care because they're sick people.
Well, from the word of the Cardinal, that is Mark McIntyre, and I am your favorite host, Alex Madagian. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. Please continue to do so. We really, really appreciate it.
Making us stars. Making us stars.
Making one of us stars. Tune in next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye, folks.